And we're back with On the Record with Tiffany
and Kevin.
So now we're going to talk about policy.
Policy, yeah, all right.
Policy. Policy is what changes the world.
Yeah, it is.
It's, you know, we
march all you want, but if you don't get policy change, it's not happening.
And I have to give a shout out to Ananda Thomas.
Who's that? Who's Ananda Thomas? Tell me more.
She is a young Black political activist, and she I've had her on before, and Ananda has been working on policy change.
Is she with Black Lives Matter, or was, or
no,
was she with one of those groups?
She's I don't know which group she's with now, because Ananda's been with several different groups, but
she focused on what really matters, right?
Yeah, she's been focusing on police reform, like realistic police reform, not defund the police, but actually, how are we going to? Not a slogan, but actual. Yeah, not a slogan, but the actual work of how do we have better interactions with the police? Yeah,
and let's talk about that, because this is something that, as you can tell,
it's a very touchy subject, because there are so many wonderful police officers, and you don't want to slight them and lump them in with the incompetence and the indecisives.
So I'm breathing in, right? Because I don't buy into the. Okay, so at the end of the day, right? I know in the previous segment, you know, I tend to be very rhetorical in my presentation, right? But at the end of the day, it is policy. Policy is what changes, and I think something that Ananda did, which was really, really great, was that she looked at the procedures that have to be followed when a cop is accused of something, or if a cop is actually did something. There's actually a process that has to happen. And so what this young lady did, and probably her and several others got, they looked at the actual policies, that how first you do this, then you do this. So they went in and they were going for changing those policies, those specific policies, and the impact, right? And not just with Black people, right? And that's the big thing that I tend to advocate, but with people in general, right? If a cop is accused of some misgivings, there's actually process and procedure around that. And it's often in those processes and procedures that the error occurs, or that there's often something that happens that shouldn't have happened. Right, but one of the things that she did was she really changed a lot of the policies.
Sometimes people just ignore process and procedure.
Yeah, and they ignore it, right?
As we saw with Uvalde ISD, the police there ignored the process and procedure for what to do during an active shooting.
And so that's one of the things that Tiff and I often talk about. And one of the things that when you go back and you and I'm a big history buff, and you look at history, right, in particular the civil rights movement, right, is that Martin Luther King and all the civil rights leaders, they could have marched all day long, right? And if policy hadn't changed, we'd still be where we were then, right? Is that Johnson, that they needed someone to change and advocate for policy change. And that's what happened, is that you've got to have an impact on policy. You can march all you want, you can burn down as many things as you want, but if you don't push for policy change, right, which is one of the things that I see in the Republican Party that's admirable, that I like, and that I find that I just really like, is that they are pushing for policy change. And that's where the power is. The power is in changing the policy and changing the law at the local level. That's where it has to be done, because you can fight, fuss, do anything you want to, and at the federal level, it's going to be very hard to change. But there's a lot you can do at the local level.
You are powerful at the local level.
Yes.
And now I will say this: I admire the organization of people. I do not agree with all of the choices that I see folks organizing behind, like women's reproductive rights. It's not your choice to tell me what to do with my body.
But just 30 years ago, you could still be considered Republican, right? And you can, in fact, Barbara Bush, that was the stance that she took, and she was Republican. Now we're so extreme, you have to be an extreme on the left or the right.
That's what I'm saying. that's what in the previous segment when we were talking about policy, that, you know, and I said that this party used to stand for freedom, opportunity, growth, and progress. A subject like this would not be, hey, we're just going to dig in and do whatever for ourselves. You would think that with so many women being a part of the party, and this is directly affecting us, that you would see a divergence and people standing up saying, hey, I may not want to have an abortion, and I wouldn't. Tiffany Smith does not want to do that. It wouldn't make a difference because I actually can't have kids, bring a child to term. Both of our kids are adopted. But I wouldn't stop another woman from making whatever decision it is that she needs to make in her situation. It's not my place to do that. And I uphold the rights of other women to make whatever decision is appropriate for them. That's not where we see this party coming down on this.
Yep,
So there's a lot of conundrums there. Like, and that's another reason why there should be voices. Another reason to be in the fight. Another reason to have those voices, black voices, female voices, depending on what your subject is. On this one, women who are willing to stand up for what they believe in. So you got to be willing to stand up. You can't just be somebody sitting over there going, yeah, you're right. No, this is a bipartisan issue. Women being able to make the decisions about their bodies is a bipartisan issue. Oh, I bet you didn't think you were getting to this on politics.
I didn't.
Yeah, that's right. In your face, Big Red. That's what I'm telling you now.
But on that though, right? So, but you have to have moderates in the party. Without moderates in the party, right, on both sides, right? But I'm rolling red, right? We have to have moderates and we do have moderates. We have to have moderates in the party who are willing to speak up, right? But now it's just divisive. It's all or nothing, right? Which is not how things are. How things are.
It's not how most Americans feel.
Yeah, but
it's not how most Americans feel. So if you are supposedly an elected official, then you are supposed to represent the constituency. That's everybody, not just the people that have the same opinion as you.
But if I do that, why would I do that, right? So why not just represent the people who voted for me? Because I know
that's what's happening right now, and that's not what is supposed to happen as an elected official.
All right, so let's go. We're going to do it at the house, like since we're on the radio. Let's go there. Okay, so we're going to have the conversation.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Why should I be concerned with X group, right? And I'm going to be controversial. Why should I be concerned with this group? And it's a black group. The constituents are African American, right? Why should I even worry or bother about what they want when I know they're not going to vote for me anyway? They're going to vote for the other team. No matter what I say or do, why should I even care?
And right there, that is why I say we have to have faces that look like ours and that are willing to stand up for the values of the community.
Don't we have Candace? Don't we have Larry Eldridge telling us, hey, what you people just need to do is get off your butts and work. That's what you need to do.
You're just throwing out controversy because
that's what they're telling us, right?
Isn't that
what Miss Owens getting paid all that money for to go on YouTube?
I'm not talking about talking heads. I'm talking about people who are talking about people who are actually regular people, not some celebrity. I'm talking about regular people who are on the local level, who are in the trenches and see what's happening in their community. Candace Owens doesn't know what's happening in 90% of the black community.
But she says we just all voting for them Democrats because we're on a plantation.
And see, I don't want to hear your plantation talk. I do not want to hear your plantation talk or any other nonsense.
I mean, come on,
any other nonsense circular logic that always lands with black people all being wrong and just completely blurs real topics.
All right.
Because to me, that's just a wasteland of bull that people pull out to make themselves better and get more viewers and money. It's just like getting more likes. So I don't care about you getting more likes, sister. I care about communities that have been decimated. We saw 40% of Black businesses close during the pandemic.
Wasn't that just part of just
How about
economics?
But economic development is what we continue to talk about. It continues to be a major problem within underserved communities. So that doesn't mean that every Black person is broke in Black communities, but it does mean that that our businesses are underfunded. We receive fewer loans. We receive those things. The Black dollar stays in the Black community a shorter period of time than it needs to. If we can keep the dollars in the community and develop businesses, develop those small businesses, and get the business acumen there, we could see some real change and growth. And that's what people want. Again, back to freedom, opportunity, growth, and progress. We can see both growth and progress if we are given the same freedoms as everyone else, and then opportunities.
Hey, back up. You just
so you want to get up in my face with your mess. Thank you. I already told you before that these furniture moving if some of the plantation folks came talking to me.
So
since you wanted to post up as a plantation person.
All right, so you can see I'm goading my wife a little bit on this, and these are real topics and real issues that I believe, is my humble but extremely accurate opinion, that are really solved at the local level.
They are solved
so it's solved locally here in San Antonio.
You are correct on that.
Thank you very much.
On that, Mr. Smith.
And so you see my leanings, right? I am
freedom, opportunity, growth, and progress. That's where we need to go back to, people.
And we will end on that with On the Record. You have been listening to On the Record with Tiffany and Kevin.